You know what the Montreal Canadiens remind me of? The 2009-2010 Chicago Blackhawks. Chicago. Now, before you roll your eyes, I'm not saying that the dynasty starts today, but it feels like there might be a dynasty in waiting. Certainly, it's not the 2014-2015 Chicago Blackhawks, like some individuals are saying, like our good friend Grant McKegg.
With a leg for an arm and an arm for a leg.
Although I like that comparison as well. But structurally, in terms of how the pieces are coming together and where the rebuild is, it's eerily similar. Let's take a look at why. Let's talk about it. So the 2009-2010 Blackhawks had a very young homegrown core that were just entering their primes. Toews was 21, Kane was only 20, Duncan Keith was 26, Seabrook was 24. So yeah, they learned to lose, but suddenly the chemistry started working, they started to click, and they started craving the win. That's exactly how I see the Canadiens now. Albeit Suzuki, Caufield, if you're comparing them to Toews and Kane, a little bit older, right? But Suzuki, Caufield, Slafkovsky, Doc, Guhle, Hutson, Demidov now, all under 25, all learning together. Let's not forget Kapanen, Bolduc, those pieces as well. They've gone through an ugly part, but way shorter than what analysts could have predicted. Thanks in most part to the great management and great drafting and trading decisions by Kent Hughes and Jeff Gordon. But now the coaching staff and the management team are starting to see what they have on the sheet. They're figuring out what kind of team they have. And maybe one of the best parts about the Montreal Canadiens is they've discovered the culture of winning, the culture of being a team. Speaking of team, I can't even believe how great this community is. Our team has, I believe, broken a record since I've started doing hockey content here on YouTube. Our most recent video from the other night when the Habs went up against the Vancouver Canucks is currently at 26.7 thousand views. Thank you so much. I can't say enough. I really appreciate you all. If you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing. I'd love to have you in this community. And subscribers, you know what to do. Hit that like button. It helps me out with YouTube things. So getting back to Chicago revolutionized the league in many ways with their puck possession and pace. I think Montreal is learning to do that better and better. And if you look at years previous and what the current iteration of the team looks like, it's gone miles in that direction. Chicago didn't just dump the puck in and grind. They were moving the puck quickly. They attacked off the rush. They controlled the puck and they played with confidence. That should sound familiar. That should sound familiar now when you look at the Suzuki line, when you look at Demidov and what he's able to do on his line. They're able to enter the zone, identify opportunities and lanes that are developing, and put pucks on net in scary situations for their opponents. And I feel like that is Martin St. Louis' endgame. That's his philosophy. The Habs are trying to play that brand of hockey, a creative, instinctive, fast, but structured enough play in order to win when it counts. You certainly already see it in the way that Suzuki and Caufield can move the puck. And now with Slafkovsky able to protect the puck, winning those battles in the corners against the boards, putting it in front, the way that Hutson activates from the back end and starts quarterbacking the play in the offensive zone. It really feels like it's not about surviving their shifts anymore or waiting long enough for the first line to get out there. Other lines are producing in their own different ways, and it could just be ways to slow their opponents down and then wait for their time to strike. But it's not about surviving shifts anymore. It's about dictating how the play and tone and pace of the game is going to play out. The 09-10 Blackhawks weren't just a top-heavy team. They had role players who knew their jobs too. Big Buff was a power play monster. Bolin shut down lines, and guys like Sharp, Versteg, and Ladd, they chipped in with goals and energy and that gritty play. Montreal's version of that is starting to form with, Anderson, Evans, those types doing the depth work. Armia was part of that before, but he's doing all right over in LA, isn't he? Now Newhook, Kapanen, Bolduc, Demidov are providing a secondary push, and prospects like Michael Hayes could bring an extra injection of young, cheap depth, just like what Chicago had. With Chicago, they had Duncan Keith and Seabrook, who weren't just defenders, they drove offensive play as well. They'd start breakouts with precision and then jump into a rush. I think you know who that sounds like. That's what the Canadiens are grooming right now with Hutson, with Dobson. And we forget, Matheson has that ability as well. Those guys are all dangerous. Guhle can be dangerous at the point. And I think that I have more people agreeing with me right now because of what he's been doing this season. Matheson's been showing that he's a bridge to the next era. They need Matheson, and I think that they can get a deal done that works for both parties. Where's Matheson going to go? Where would he rather go right now? Does he want to go back to Florida? But it feels like he's really going to be able to plant that seed and watch those young defensemen mature. And Montreal could have that same layered blue line as what Chicago did. Mobile, creative, hard to play against. And then when talking about goaltending, even the goaltending lines up. The 2010 Hawks didn't have a superstar in net. They remember Niame? He was just a solid, steady, middle of the pack goalie that didn't lose games for them. That's kind of what Monty is up until, these past, 5 games? He can be that guy. They don't necessarily need a Vezina winner, but Montreal has the added benefit of Jakub Dobeš, who, I'm going to knock on wood because it's still very early, he could be something, man. Or is Dobeš more like Cristobal Huet? That was Chicago's backup. Another Montreal Canadian goaltender. It's just interesting to think about the parallels, some of the coincidences, but I think that the thing that strikes me the most is they were a young team captained by a young captain who felt like he was thrown into that captain role a little bit too early. Recently, Jonathan Toews met with 32 Thoughts podcasters Elliot Friedman and Kyle Bukakis and said he was kind of thrust into that role too early and didn't develop the way that he feels he should have, maybe mentally. And I can definitely see that for him. I hope that's not currently happening to Suzuki. I don't think so. I think he's just a hockey nerd and he's having fun playing with some type teammates who are forming a brotherhood. I hope that he can rely on that and fall back on that if he is having those types of struggles. Jonathan Toews is he's a special breed though. But as many parallels that you could draw, there's things that are different as well. And I think when you talk about things that are different, they broke the mold when they made this team. I don't think that that's a huge bias. Other people in the hockey industry, in the hockey world, analysts, fans, they're saying how fun Montreal is to watch right now. There's so much personality on the team, so much charisma, so much to like, so many fun players to watch. And yeah, they're kind of, along with the San Jose Sharks, they're kind of the sweethearts of the league right now. But once they've won 2 or 3 cups, they'll drop in popularity just like Vegas. So enjoy it while it lasts. So to wrap it up, the 2009-2010 Blackhawks were the moment when a rebuild turned into a contender and a cup-winning algorithm. And I think that's where the Canadiens are heading. The league is super competitive right now, but Montreal has all the momentum that they need. If Suzuki and Caufield are Toews and Kane, if Slavkovsky becomes their sod or their big buff X factor, getting in front of the net, crashing the net, and then if Hutson and Dobson hit their strides, this rebuild, it's not just going to be special. It's going to be something we look back at and talk about like a historic team. That's going to do it for me, guys. I had a fun day back at work on this Monday. Pretty hectic. I missed a couple days last week because I wasn't feeling well. Definitely picked up a bug from school. Watch out for that. Definitely watch out for that. It's going to hit you. It's coming for you. Parents out there, dads, moms. We went to skating earlier tonight. My son is in skating classes. He's loving it. They're getting them to do all sorts of just little activities on the ice that gets them comfortable with bending and maneuvering and jumping, skating to your side. I'm sure in no time he's going to be better than I am at skating because I never fully learned to skate well. So that's exciting to me because I think, eventually we'll get onto the ice and that could be something for me to share with him and something that we could do together and hopefully keep me healthy and keep me ticking while him and his sister grow up to be the good humans that I hope to create with them. That got a little bit too mushy and too introspective, but anyway, some of you guys like to hear that. Others, you vehemently tell me not to talk about my personal life. So it is what it is. Hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Hope you had a good night. Sidney Crosby reached 1,700 points tonight. That's incredible. Sid the Kid. Wonder when he's going to finish his career in Montreal. I'm not gonna get into that. Not yet. We'll mine that for gold. It's closer to deadline. Thanks for watching. You guys know what to do. Hit that like button. It helps me out with algorithm-y type stuff. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed. I would love to have you as a member of this community. And as always, I will see you down in the comments.